As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
EA Sports. Now, EA Sports has not verified, but there's a couple of different people out there saying that they've got a date for whenever the video game is going to drop. NCAA football, July 12th. And that matches up with some of the dates that they've dropped the game in the past. It's been a long time. I think the last time was 2013, whenever they dropped NCAA 14. And I know there's a bunch of people been waiting. Be a decade. So I'm excited about it. My son's of age now, plays Madden. Would love to see him playing some college football. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I am. I'm pumped. Can't wait. The game's been gone for far too long. You mentioned that NCAA 2014. I was on that game. I was on the last one. It's my senior year. I was one of the only guys in the 90s. What's up? On our team. No big deal. And it's funny. That actually got me street cred in the locker room. It really did. It's like,
No,
oh, nice, Gabe. Nice. But is it bad that I'm still skeptical it's going to happen, man?
no,
There's
I know.
the legal implications with NIL now, all the moving parts. I, this is the situation. I'm not going to believe the game is back until I'm playing it. And I'm not a video game guy. I'm not. I can't tell you the last time I played a video game. But it seems like there's a lot of hoops to jump through. I'm
I'm with
optimistic.
you. I know.
I'm optimistic, but I'm just going to need to see it before I believe it. That's where I'm at with it.
I'm totally with you. It seems like an absolute mess. Um, I want the players to get a piece of it. I want, the people that deserve a piece of the action to get a piece of the action. But here's the other part of it. If you polled all the college football players, it'd be like 99% would say, I don't care what we get. If it's $10, if it's $0, if it's $100, if it's $500, I just would love to play the game with myself on there, and that's how it kind of has always was previously. And there's going to be a bunch of people quickly come running to tell all of those guys how bad they're getting screwed and, that they shouldn't allow it and all this stuff. But I think that's ridiculous. Just enjoy having yourself on a video game. And don't let lawyers and everyone else tell you that you shouldn't allow it to happen.
Hey, players, don't ruin it for yourselves and don't ruin it for all of us, okay? I gladly played that game and I made $0 from it. I think we actually ended up getting paid down the road for it because of the O'Bannon situation. But it's just cool.
I got
cool. Whatever you get, you get.
I think it's the same year. They called me and they had like a Legends something on there, and they were offering, I can't remember how much it was. It was like $500. And I was like, sure, whatever. I mean, do it. I don't care. I don't, it's $500. That's awesome, but I don't even care about that. Like, I think it's cool that you have that availability on there. And I don't know if they can give the guys something, it's awesome, but I don't think there's as much money there as people think whenever it comes to those video games, and the numbers that they do. But I know this, I think it's a huge driver for college football, interest in college football. I think you bring a lot more people to the table that end up having an interest in the sport because of the game.
Completely agree. I think it's for the overall health of college football. I think the game coming back is great, especially with everything we got going on. I think it's great. Who do you have as your loser of the week?
I got to go with Alabama. Now, I think the transition has gone well. It sounds like they're putting together a really good staff. Feels like they've held on to a good chunk of the roster there, but they've also lost some guys. And Caleb Downs has jumped in the portal. Doesn't mean that he's gone, right? Still has the ability to stay, but if Alabama loses 1, 2, 3, 5 of these guys, I think it's going to be more difficult than it's ever been to replace some of those guys. It's not going to be just the nonstop pipeline that it's been before. And, given that they're going to have probably the most difficult schedule that Alabama's had in the last 20 years, maybe ever going into this year, and the roster maybe not as good as it's been, you're really starting to line yourself up for perhaps come back down to earth and join the rest of college football.
For those of you that are not familiar with Caleb Downs, he started at safety, which is a very difficult position in Nick Saban's defense, as a true freshman.
Stud.
And was a second-team All-American. I think he was second-team AP All-American as a true freshman. And may have been the best player on their defense as a true freshman. I wonder if it's just a situation where he looked at it and said, I'm so good, I'm going to ball in whatever defense I play in. Who wants to pay me the most money?
I'm sure. 'Tis the times.
Would not be shocked if he ends up at Georgia.
Oh, that one's going to be painful.
It's going to be painful.
Painful for Bama fans and that team. And maybe that's the case. I don't know, but you can't lose these players. And I know it's not a mass exodus, I understand, but man, it's just, these guys are so hard to replace now. It's more competitive on the recruiting trail, especially with all the change that you're going to have. So I don't know, man. It's starting to look like it's going to be more and more difficult down the stretch. And Alabama's still going to be incredibly good. It's just going to, I think their incredibly good is going to look a lot more like some other really good teams and not going to look like the juggernaut that they've been.
Yeah. I don't know if you can really say anything to anyone in Alabama if Texas is going to keep giving guys Lamborghinis. Like, Gabe, Isaiah Bond, did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
He came out, Isaiah Bond, who, remember, he was the one who caught the, 4th and 31 against Auburn late in that game, caught it in the corner of the end zone. He's a really good player. Dude can run. But transferred to Texas, said it was a business decision. And I think one day later, it was Snapchat or Instagram or one of those things, he posted a picture of him sitting in a Lamborghini. College football now, baby. Let's go.
It was a business decision, and business is good.
And business is good. But, and you mentioned it, yes, it's a week where Alabama loses a couple of key players to the portal. And I guess they haven't technically lost Downs yet, but it seems like that is a real possibility. But DeBoer, he is putting an interesting staff together. He got Kane, I think you say it, Womack, South Alabama's head coach, to leave, to come be his defensive coordinator. And then he got Maurice Linguist, who's the head coach at Buffalo, to leave. He got 2 guys to leave head coaching jobs to be on his staff. That's pretty dang significant. So kind of a week of highs and lows for Alabama fan post Nick Saban.
Yeah, and I don't know a whole lot about the background for those guys, but I'm sure they are probably more regionally tied to that spot than he is, which I think is big. You need some guys that are well versed in the recruiting circles down there, and like they're going to be set up. Their back end recruiting, the organization that they've got there is top notch, but you still need some familiar faces down there.
No doubt. All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first,
elevate your tailgate with Chapel Supply and Equipment in Oklahoma City. Chapel Supply and Equipment has generators and inverters on hand that'll give you all the power you need so you can take your tailgate to the next level. They've also got top-of-the-line heaters to keep you warm during those cold tailgates later in the season. Oklahoma owned and operated. Elevate your tailgate by calling 405-495-1722 or visit chapelsupply.com. That's CHAPPELL supply.com.
And attention business owners, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
And head to opolisclothing.com for our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's OPOLIS clothing.com. Use promo code TED, TED for 10% off. That's opolisclothing.com. Use promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
You can see where I spilled water all over my shirt. I lifted it up. I was like, oh, dang it. I've showed everyone. Oh, no. For my winner of the week, thought about going with Sherrone Moore. It feels, with Harbaugh interviewing for all these NFL jobs, and then you've got the reports that he's trying to get basically immunity at his contract if he comes back to Michigan, all this weird stuff. It just feels like he's gone. To me, he's interviewed with the Chargers. He's interviewed with the Falcons. It just seems like the NFL is the next step for Jim Harbaugh. And there's a lot of discussion around who's going to be the next guy for Michigan. And I think people are overthinking it. I think it's going to be Sherrone Moore, and he's going to be the next head coach at Michigan, in my opinion. And that's pretty dang cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you. I almost feel like they don't even have much of a choice. You won a national championship. Your offensive coordinator was at the helm often throughout the season because of Harbaugh being suspended. I don't think you want to change really the operation and what's gone on there. You want to keep as much continuity as you can. If it's not Sherrone Moore, then you're right. They're overthinking it, and I think they're making a big mistake. To shut him out after the year that they just had seems ridiculous.
I guess it could end up being Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator, but I don't know. It just feels like it's going to be more. But for my winner of the week, I'm annoyed about it. Los Angeles. Stupid Los Angeles. Thunder went out to L.A., got beat by the Lakers, got beat by the Clippers. Let's start with the Clippers game because that one happened most recently. It's the second night of a back-to-back. The Clippers are playing really good basketball, and it was a wildly entertaining game. I would not mind a playoff series between these two teams. Sign me up for that. But the fourth quarter, just an emotional swing for me watching it in bed. Thunder turned it on in the fourth. Jalen Williams, he was awesome, doing everything for the Thunder in the fourth quarter. But he hits a three with about 3 minutes and 38, 3 minutes, 37 seconds to go to give the Thunder a 115-114 lead. And the Clippers kind of just completely outplayed the Thunder from that point on. And a big reason why, Paul George is really good at basketball. Guy just closed the game. He was hitting threes. He picked SGA from behind, then went and, did a one-handed kind of reverse, goes underneath and dunks it. 18 points in the fourth quarter, had a ton of points in the second half. had 11 of the last 14 for the Clippers, just took the game over. And unfortunately, maybe the best stretch we've seen from Paul George all season long was against the Thunder, and he's the reason that Thunder are leaving Los Angeles winless. Ted, made me real sad. That was a great game though. It was really really fun to watch. That fourth quarter was highly entertaining. I just wish the Thunder would have finished stronger because the Clippers kind of won it going away with what Paul George was able to do there late.
And it's kind of the one thing, like the Clippers have something that the Thunder just don't have. They've got late game, like big time late game experience, guys that have played a ton of basketball in highly competitive games, and where crunch time execution in the fourth quarter is absolutely critical. You just lack some of that experience right now, and during the regular season some of that stuff's going to happen, but the Clippers got some of the best like late game stars that you've got in the NBA at the moment.
Yeah, you look at what Kawhi did late, pinned SGA's layup against the glass, had a tremendous contest on a fade that SGA missed. Clippers are good.
Mm-hmm.
Clippers are really good. And this is something we talked about last episode. Thunder are going to get everyone's best shot. In this game, it was a TNT game. All those guys know there are a ton of eyeballs on it, but I feel like the Clippers really turned it on, and it almost had, it's hard to say in January, it had a playoff intensity feel to it, but when Paul George is hitting shots and flexing and yelling at the crowd, like that's the way it felt to me.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get that type of effort from other teams now and that type of intensity. And I think you saw that in the Lakers game as well. And the one thing, a common theme of both games, Jalen Williams is about that life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking for positives from losing both in LA, Jalen Williams was tremendous in both games and appears to be improving rapidly. Guy looks like he's going to be a star. I don't think there's a debate right now. Chet Holmgren's tremendous, but he struggled on that back-to-back. The intensity, just the way that everything was moving, like he did not play well in either game, especially in the Clippers game, just was not his night. But Jalen Williams on the other side, those games with that type of intensity, he looked like he was at his best.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting. So I'm not concerned. It's a very, very long season. But when you look at that Lakers game, it was clear. The Lakers, that team they're huge. And their size, their physicality, what they outscored the Thunder by 20 points in the paint. I mean, they're big, and the Thunder just have issues with that.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder settled for so many threes. Shot 49 threes in that game.
And
11 free throws. So, which is just a little strange for them, but Chet struggled in that game against Anthony Davis. Chet struggled, and that's something he's going to learn from. So I'm not freaking out. Do I wish they would have been able to get a split out there? Absolutely. But SGA, is he completely healthy or not? That's to be debated. A lot of people want to talk about the limp he has when he walks. That's how he walks all the time. It's how he's walked ever since he got here, which probably just tells you how few nationally televised games the Thunder have played since he's been there. He's just always had that little hitch in his walking gait. I don't know why, but overall, I'm going to choose to say, you know what? The Thunder's going to have to get used to the intensity that these other teams are going to bring in these games. And Jalen Williams was awesome. So those are my two main takeaways. I'm not worried about SGA. I'm not worried about Chet. He's going to adjust. But everyone's going to wonder, okay, who do the Thunder need to trade for now? People are going to start, that conversation is going to ramp up even more. And we'll see how it goes against a red hot Utah on Thursday night. They've won 9 of 10. I think their only loss was to the Celtics.
Yeah,
But
that's a good one.
But this is the new reality for this team. It's no longer when the Thunder come to town, it's guys aren't taking the night off. They're getting up for these games. And while I appreciate just how this team fights even when they get down, I just think that there's going to be an adjustment period to that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's it. Plus you're going to be, as the season starts to wind down later, I imagine they're going to be in a lot more bigger nationally televised games, and see how you go from there. You're right, but that's good. You need to get in the fire now because that's how it's going to be in the playoffs. And, they're probably going to go into the playoffs with a pretty decent seed unless things totally fall apart on them. And I don't see that happening. So you might as well start to get the battle tested now.
Absolutely. All right, for my loser of the week, thought about going with Ohio State. Did you see they hired Ross Bjork to be their new athletic director?
Yeah.
Now, for those of you that don't know, Ohio State's athletic department brings in more money than any other athletic department in all of college sports. It's a big deal to run that athletic department. When you are the AD at Ohio State, you have a seat at the table every single time. And they gave the job to the guy that signed Jimbo Fisher to that horrible contract and had to buy it out. I don't know Ross Bjork. I've heard him talk several times. Seems like an extremely likable dude. He clearly is fantastic at raising money. But the guy that signs Jimbo Fisher to arguably the worst college football contract in history is now going to be the most influential athletic director in all of college sports. Okay, sure.
Yeah, and the timing on this deal is not a surprise. Obviously, when did Gene Smith announce that he was done?
Yeah,
like,
a while back
before the season, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like something all of a sudden is happening, but it still has to make you. If you're Ryan Day, it's not great, that the guy that was there that whenever you took over, like no longer your guy. And I'm sure that they're going to have a great relationship and all of that stuff. But, with a fan base that is, I mean, I don't even know how you label them right now, but they need to see something happen. They don't like to be on the sideline whenever the playoffs going on and watching Michigan play in the Big Ten championship. So it's an interesting time to be taking over AD at Ohio State, right? They need to have a good first year or everyone's going to know Ross Bjork's name all over again.
It'll be interesting. It's crazy to think, though, maybe the most influential thing Ross Bjork's done in the last couple of years is leaked at OU in Texas for going to the SEC.
Oh, I know. That was crazy. That caused a lot of people a lot of headaches.
Oh my gosh. But we'll see. Hey, maybe he ends up killing it there. I don't know, but maybe I shouldn't have been surprised, but I just thought it was an interesting hire. But my loser of the week, OU basketball is playing, and I know they've lost a couple in a row, but there's a lot of excitement about that team. The Thunder, maybe the buzziest team in the entire NBA with the way that things have gone for them early in the season. And then you have my loser of the week, Oklahoma State basketball. Struggling, Ted. The Cowboys are struggling. Got dismantled by Kansas on Tuesday night in a game that can only be described as non-competitive. They never led in the game. Just wire-to-wire dominance from the Jayhawks. And I love Mike Boynton. I've been fortunate enough to interview him a lot on the radio. He's great. He seems like he's about all the right things, but it's a results-driven business. They're 8-9 on the season. They're 0-4 in conference play. They're undoubtedly, in my mind, they look like the worst team in the Big 12. And maybe the biggest indictment is what that crowd looked like when Kansas came to town. Maybe half full there at Gallagher Iba.
And I'm probably had a lot of Kansas fans there too, if I know Kansas.
Things are not good on the hardwood in Stillwater, and I don't know. It just
Don't they? Isn't he on a massive contract with a huge buyout?
I'd be lying to you if I said I knew.
I think he is.
I just it it doesn't look the way that it should look. Now, do I expect Oklahoma State to be some dominant force in the Big 12, which is clearly the best conference in all of college basketball? No, but I expect them to be competitive at home. And you look at what the first couple of weeks have looked like, it has been very difficult to win on the road in this league. And they provided very little resistance to Kansas. And Kansas is better than them. They're more talented than them. I get that. But didn't even give them a game, man. And fans aren't showing up. I guess if you're looking for bright spots, Bryce Thompson's scoring at a good clip. It's good to see him playing well. Javon Small, he's been good. Now, he was a no-show in the Kansas game, but I don't know, man. It just, things are not going well right now for that team.
Yeah, and it's hard to figure out why, and I'm sure some people have the answers. I don't know. I'm not close enough to it to know, but when you just look at the landscape of the Big 12, you'd think it would be where Oklahoma State basketball would thrive, right? I mean, there's a lot of really good teams in this conference. I don't know why Oklahoma State's not one of them. I mean, Iowa State, TCU, Tech. I mean, you can go up and down, and like that Oklahoma State has been that type of program in the past, and you feel like right now should be a good opportunity for them to get back in the hoops game and make some hay, being in a great conference. But I don't know. It's strange. I don't know. I know it wasn't good whenever they got screwed by the NCAA. I mean,
no doubt
that set them back for sure.
But yeah, I also saw it didn't help things. They were getting made fun of all over X. Did you see they were giving away popsicles and soft pretzels to students to show up for the Kansas game? It was like 200 popsicles and 2 soft pretzels. Be there. Just like, wait, what?
Interesting.
I would love to show up to a game and get a free soft pretzel. That'd be awesome. But I don't know. A lot of people, there are a lot of quote tweets on that one.
It doesn't really hit the spot like mentally whenever it's 0 degrees outside.
It's simple. Beer. Give the children beer.
Did you hear
Give the young adults beer.
The $2 beer quote that he had is pretty good.
Porter.
Yeah.
Make sure that they don't have to wait in long lines.
That's right.
Guy gets it. We'll see. It's a big week for the Sooners to get back on track, but yeah, man, not looking good in Stillwater.